Hi, I'm California Trust Litigation Attorney Scott Grossman. Clients frequently ask me, when a trustee has done something wrong, what kind of damages can we get against the trustee? Well, in this video, I'm going to discuss what damages are available against the trustee and how they're measured. In this video, I'll be answering two questions. The first is, what is a surcharge? And the second is, what are the three ways to calculate a surcharge? Damages against a trustee for breaching their fiduciary duties are called a surcharge. Now, surcharge is just probate court lingo, and it means what you're used to hearing in other legal contexts, which is just simply compensatory damages. That means if somebody has caused you a certain amount of harm, you're entitled to damages in the same amount. If somebody cost you $100 of harm, you're entitled to receive $100 in damages, or in this setting, a $100 surcharge. Under California law, there are three ways to measure damages for a surcharge. The first of them is the loss or depreciation in value in the trust estate plus interest. So loss or depreciation in value is just what it sounds like. If a trustee takes over and an item in the estate is worth a certain amount of money, and through their breach of duty, it's declined in value or it's been lost altogether, you're entitled to a surcharge for the value. So for example, let's assume that the trust owns a house. The trustee takes over and never bothers to see if the house is insured. There's a fire at the house. That fire causes $200,000 worth of damages. Then the surcharge order is going to be for $200,000. In this setting, you're entitled both to the amount of the surcharge plus pre-trial interest for that loss. Second way to determine the amount of the surcharge is for a trustee who has profited from their breach of duty. You get that profit plus interest. Let's assume that the trust has some amount of cash on hand when the trustee takes over. And what the trustee does is, quote unquote, loan himself, let's call it $100,000. The trustee takes that $100,000 and invests it. The $100,000 grows to $175,000 and the trustee keeps the whole thing. Well, your loss isn't just the $100,000 that was taken from the trust, it's also the $75,000 gain from the trustee's investment. Your surcharge is going to be $175,000 plus pre-trial interest. The third way of measuring the damages for a surcharge is the loss of profit to the trust that's caused by the trustee's breach of duty. Now, this is a little bit counterintuitive because it sounds kind of odd to say a loss in profit. Here's how it works in practice. Many trusts require a trustee to hold on to trust property for some determinate period of time. It may be a set number of years after death. It may be until a beneficiary reaches a certain age. There are any number of ways this can occur. If the trustee is holding on to trust assets, then among the trustee's duties are the duty to invest the trust property appropriately to the beneficiaries. Let's assume that the trustee just neglects that duty altogether. The trustee gets all the trust assets, sells them, turns everything into cash, and puts that cash in the bank. Well, if you have a young beneficiary that isn't going to get those assets for 10 or 15 years, the likelihood is there should have been some plan, probably with the help of some kind of financial advisor, to invest all of that money in some mix of stocks, bonds, and cash. Maybe real estate, maybe there are other investments as well. Now you know the three ways to measure surcharges where a trustee has breached their fiduciary duty. A surcharge isn't necessarily the only way to get damages where you as a beneficiary have been harmed. Where somebody, could be a third person, could be the trustee, has wrongfully taken property from the trust, you may be entitled to double damages as well. I'm going to discuss double damages in the next video. If you found this video helpful, then please hit the subscribe bell, leave us a comment. We'll be glad to respond if you do, and give us a thumbs up.